All hits from the 90s boy band A1 there. Well, Mark Reed is a member of the band and he's visiting us in Essex very soon. He joins me now. Mark, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Sadie. It's lovely to speak to you.
And it certainly is to you. Mark, you've been in the business forever, haven't you? I hear that you started playing instruments at the age of 2. Lordy,
Right.
working with your mum and dad, they didn't mess about.
Right.
Straight in the band, going round the world on cruises. Lordy, you just grew up with it, didn't you?
I really did. I tell you what, it's amazing to hear that I'm already at that age where I'm kind of like, I've been around forever. I mean, it's so funny. I mean, like, to me, still like the late 90s and noughties still feels like a hiccup ago. But obviously, I'm sure many of your listeners weren't even born then. But here we are. But it's great to still be around, and it's great to be still talking about those great times.
Well, it is as well, but I love it when you can just see that music is in someone's soul. It's not just something they've picked up and sort of thought, oh, I'll have a go at this. I mean, your father in a rock and roll band, your mum played piano and drums and wrote music, and I mean, it was a natural choice for you, wasn't it? I mean, then you performed with them, and they must be so proud of you.
You're absolutely right. Where are you getting all this information? It sounds completely accurate. That doesn't happen often. But can't be Wikipedia.
I try. I try.
No, you're absolutely right. It was so not lovely growing up with a really musical family. Even generations back, my granddad was a performer. My grandma is one of the 60s Tiller Girls, who is a dancing troupe that used to perform every Sunday at the London Palladium. So it was certainly in the blood, and pretty inevitable that I would go that way, and really there wasn't really any other choice. I knew from such a young age that's what I wanted to do, and it was just a case of as soon as I can get out there and get out on the road and perform, then the better. And I started gigging in pubs and clubs when I was 11, for better or for worse. It was quite scary, but good experience.
You're like the Michael Jackson, really, aren't you? I mean, it's just there, isn't it? You're just there. You're just doing it at an early age. And have you always really loved it? Was there a time when, you get to the teenage years and you're suddenly more probably concerned about, other areas of your world and in a sexual way, I should imagine, as in singing or dancing or whatever? Was there ever a time you thought, I don't want to be doing this anymore. I want to be a train driver?
Well, I soon realized that when you work every weekend, your friends stop asking you, hey, do you want to go out? So I just got so used to that working life that, I don't really know it any other way. And I think that is the case with many sort of people that started performing from such a young age. And everything else sort of takes second place to it, unfortunately. But I mean, I no regrets, because I'm really grateful for all the opportunities it's brought me. But yeah, when I think back, I wasn't doing anything else that like people my age were doing. I mean, by the time I was 19, I was signed to Sony Music, and by the time I was 21, we'd won a Brit. We had 2 number ones, and we were just on that, caught up in that whirlwind, and it was such a wow. It was so fast. It all just happened so quickly, but it was absolutely amazing, and very grateful for those times, and which is why it's nicer this time around, because I get to enjoy it a little bit more, because things are a lot more relaxed. A1 is still very busy. We're still doing lots of shows, but the audiences are a little bit quieter. Oh, well, I say that. They still do make a lot of noise. They certainly can still scream.
Mark, can I hang on to you? I need to do my travel and then come straight back to you. Is that okay? You stay
Absolutely.
where you are. Barry Lewis has the latest. Sadie Nine here with you, chatting to Mark Reed, a member of A1, and also a solo artist in his own right, and very much a songwriter as well. I'm amazed as I was reading down, Mark, that you've written songs and collaborated with people like Michael Bolton, the Hollies, Charlotte Church, and I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. What do you love doing best? Is it a writing that you enjoy doing it? Do you like collaborating with people, or is it the performing?
I absolutely love collaborating with people. I mean, growing up, my dad always got me into band music, like Beatles, Beach Boys, ELO. And I think I've always loved being a part of a group because I just really believe that, any individual can achieve great things, but you put them in a team and you can just really, really create some magic together. So I love that collaborative process. But also I quite like throwing myself in the deep end and trying out performing a song myself that I've written, because you can always, when you give a song to another artist, you kind of keep that anonymity, and you can kind of hide behind their version of that song, which can go two ways, because sometimes you hear what they've done and I thought, I might have been able to do a better job of that, I don't know, which happens sometimes. But it is a real thrill when you hear another artist singing your song. Certainly, as you say, some of those names that you mentioned, I mean, my mum and dad were huge fans of the Hollies, as were many people, one of the best British bands of all time. So to know that they were out on the road performing songs that I'd written, that was just such an honor and such a thrill. And, I really appreciate that. Anytime a band records a song I've written, it's an amazing thing.
What's the proudest song? What's the one that you sort of think that's the one, got everything right on that?
Well, funnily enough, I wrote a song with the you may remember the Fame Academy, because obviously that was a great series that the BBC had many years ago, which ran quite a few seasons. Well, I think the first winner of that was a gentleman by the name of David Snedden. We've been talking about 90s and naughty music. That's going to make people go, oh yeah, I remember. Well, I wrote a great song with David Snedden called Baby Get Higher, which was going to be, I believe he released it as a single, and it did okay, but then it was picked up by several artists around the world. And it's so funny when that a song can have several lives. If it doesn't necessarily connect with one audience in one country, you often find that it can end up becoming a huge hit in another part of the world, and that was certainly the case with that song. But the probably my proudest song was a song I wrote called "We Will Remember Them." I wrote that with a very talented writer musician called Robert Hart, and that song ended up being recorded by many top artists, and it was also raising money for Help for Heroes and the Royal British Legion. So I think even though that was not necessarily the biggest hit, it was certainly something I was extremely proud of.
Well, I know that my builder, who I've got doing work at the moment, John, they play that at certain occasions. He lost his son in Afghanistan, Robbie, and he said that they play that, and there's a video, and it's just beautiful. Just made me cry. I mean, something that he'd shot, and it's absolutely beautiful. So well done on that. And what's all this about? I read now. You can read things online and you get them slightly wrong. But you came second in Eurovision. Come on.
Yeah, that is slightly. What actually happens is people take bits of information, and then stories kind of get shared, and sometimes they go a little bit away from what the actual truth is. So in a way that's true, but I think we've kind of stopped doing that over here, because I think England's just the UK is losing the will when it comes to the Eurovision, for good reason. But back in Norway, it's still absolutely huge. So back in, I think, 2010, we represented Norway in their semi-finals, their qualifiers, and we came second out of 20 songs that were submitted for that year. And that really helped to relaunch us. So we didn't actually go on to the main competition, but we came second in the semi-finals. It would have been really great to have represented, to have been part of Eurovision, because it's such a great event. And it would have been a bit strange, a bit left field to be representing Norway. But still, it certainly helped us. It's helped to sort of relaunch us again. And that was with a song called Don't Want to Lose You Again.
Right. Well, we don't want to lose again, but I think we better just leave, or maybe A1 can actually represent us. Now you're coming to Southend's Palace Theatre, which is just one of my favourite theatres in the world. It's so beautiful. In October for the A1 A Game Tour. I'm really looking forward to this. What can we expect? Because let's be honest, you were the 1990s. You were dancing out there, shirts off malarkey. We're going to have some of that this time?
I don't know about the shirts off. We're all a little bit older, a little bit wider. more conscious of that kind of thing. But hey, you never know. You never know what to expect. But that's right. Yeah, on the 22nd of October, we will be at the lovely Palace Theatre, and that is the A Game tour. It's basically it means that we're going to be bringing our A game. We're going to be performing new songs that fans have never heard before, as well as playing all the hits. And it's going to be a really special tour because it's the first full UK tour we've done as a full band for many years. And I think people can expect lots of surprises, but I'm not sure about the shirts off. I'll just say that now.
Just let our listeners know so they don't get too disappointed when they go down there. So October 21st is that? Haven't got it in front of me.
22nd.
22nd of October, Southend's Palace Theatre, and I love that theatre, absolutely beautiful. And you've been in loads of things like Hairspray and Spoonful of Sherman as well. And I just wonder what you think about theatre at the moment, because we've got now fans going into sports. We're looking at Wimbledon, where they've got people there. They're trying it as a trial out. I mean, as someone who loves theatre and performing, how do you feel about this, that theatres are still not open? And, I'm so pleased they are coming back.
Oh, me too. I'm so glad that things are slowly getting back to normal. And, I don't get too involved in the politics of why, one area is allowed to have thousands of people when another isn't. That's being dealt with, and I'm sure it will take time. But I'm just aware of the effect it's going to have on so many theatres. You talk about the Palace Theatre. I think theatres have really struggled in this past year, and that's one of the reasons why I wrote and released Stop the Show, which was my way of sort of trying to raise awareness for the fact that, for how important theatre is. It's such an important part of our lives, as the arts is in general. So I think it's a very strong industry, and I think it will bounce back, but we just need to all give it as much support as we can.
We've got to finish now because I'm coming up to my news headlines, which is a real shame. But Mark,
just flew by.
It's just flown by. Thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to get down there and see you. And also, let's play out now your single track at the moment, Stop the Show. It's out now. And I'm getting vibes of The Greatest Showman, to be absolutely honest. But Absolutely. There we go. Thank you so much for joining us. Stop the Show now. Mark Reed on BBC Essex. A1 with us in Essex, October.
You can't stop the show. We can't stop the show. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have a moment of your time? Make no mistake about it, you won't want to miss a single line.